All right. I think we are live. If you are tuning in, I'm Rachel Cow. This is the Business in Abundance interview series. I'm super excited because I have the gorgeous Melinda Molnar here with me today. Very excited because I launch the Mind Body Spirit Collective next week, and Melinda is one of our founding members. So I'll be very
Yay.
excited to start really showcasing Melinda and all of her incredible wisdom and expertise, which we will dive into a little bit here shortly. So,
Thank you.
Melinda, let's just kick things off a little bit. Would love to have you introduce yourself, share with us anything that you would like to share for the audience to know about you, and then if you could tell us a little bit about what you do, we'll kind of go
Yes.
from there.
Oh, hello, and thank you for that introduction. My name is Melinda Molnar, and well, I'll jump into what I do. Of course, I have a past also, but through the many years of refining myself and being interested in frequency work, which for those of you who haven't heard yet, everything is energy, everything vibrates. So we just say frequency. The vibration is frequency, and there are higher frequencies, lower frequencies, and our bodies are constantly influenced by outside frequencies and also your internal frequencies. We each are a frequency bundle, millions of frequencies, and with our own unique blueprint. So there's no other just like you. There's no other resonance just like you out there. So what I do is I initiate quantum transformation through awakening your somatic experience of your divinity. Because once you become aware and feel on yourself your divine source, then you can start trusting into your limitless potential. And then you become clear in who you are, and you can generate the frequencies that you need at that point, like courage, like bravery. And you start to stand in that, and your authenticity just comes through very easily in any expression that you do. And as a natural consequence, then, since you show up differently in your life, you start to shift your life in your relationships, in your career, in any service that you do. And ultimately, you come to your highest expression of yourself.
Wow, beautiful explanation. And beautiful explanation, and it's big and it's a lot. And I think for people who maybe are just starting to learn about or explore, or maybe they've even heard the word frequency, um, it's a tough thing to put into words because it is so somatic, because it is something that you really experience. And I want to go in a little bit deeper because I actually had the incredible honor of experiencing this with Melinda, and really just kind of, I soak it all up. I like to just dive right in and experience things and have a really open mind. And I really didn't know what to expect. And I want to just say a few words about the experience so people maybe kind of start to understand that. And then maybe we can kind of dive into some of the layers and the specifics of why this is so powerful and what somebody might come to you for. So, for me, it really was first an incredible way to get present in my body. And, we talk a lot about being present, breathing, but I think that oftentimes we skim the surface of what that really means to be present. And with Melinda's guidance, I was able to go in a very connected way right into being present in a way that was able to wash away a lot of the other distractions and thoughts. And I think through the process of just her guidance and her incredible energetic frequency ability, and then the breath work. And I think the breath work is so impactful that you do. And a lot of the people I talk to and that I've interviewed say, it's so important. We have to breathe. But oftentimes, until somebody reminds us to breathe or says that word, or we hear it, or we catch ourselves not breathing, right? We need that reminder. We need that to anchor in. And so through this experience with Melinda, I felt like I finally was breathing after a very busy week. Many of us, I think, whether we're moms or we're working or we're juggling different things, we go, 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 and we forget our breath and we forget to truly stop and be present. So that was so healing in itself. Just having somebody there to guide me through this process help me create some sacred time and space for myself to breathe and anchor into my being present. Um, and then I don't even know how to put words to it, but she guided me through an experience where I was actually able to have a not only a visual but a sensory experience of these frequencies. And again, it's so hard to put into words. Maybe you can help, but all I can say about that is I had really beautiful visuals of exactly what she was tapping into. And she incredibly was able to tap into the very specific parts of my body and I would say on an emotional level, on a feeling level, things that I needed to look at, begin to look at, and then a process to actually really heal. So from that place, and I after this experience, I'll even go into a little bit more later about kind of the post experience, but I would love to just talk a little bit, Melinda, about, you know, what kind of happens in that process. Well, I'd love to hear like what happens for you. What are you experiencing and what are you seeing and tapping into when you work?
Yes, yes. That is a loaded question. Thank you. So ultimately, I'll tell you what I do and also how the experience is for me. So what I do when I am in a session, either with one person or a group, I elevate what I call a frequency platform. So we raise our frequencies. And we do that by coming into the present moment. And like you said, we breathe, but we forget how to breathe where you bring your breath into your body. And we talk about mindfulness, but interesting, we keep it in the mind. And your body is what's in the present moment. So bringing awareness to where you are in space in this present moment. And when you are in space, which is always at this present now. And just that by itself calms your nervous system, and
Mhm,
your whole body realizes that it's right here, right now. It is safe. So, in that present moment, then I elevate the frequencies, or we increase our frequencies, which imagine it as different bandwidths. Let's say on channel 5 you get certain kinds of shows, but on channel 6 it's a different kind of information. The higher we are in frequencies, the more information that becomes available.
mhm,
So in that higher frequency space, then I'll start to work, if you will. It's more like, by now I have cleared enough of my body and of my whole being that I ground strongly, and then information from you or from a group starts to flow to me as to what is off balance.
mhm,
And then I name that for you, and I also find it in your body, and then we bring awareness to that space, and through the breath, through being present in our breath, and then I do a little help, also frequency help, then we start to dissolve those
mhm,
issues. And then I always bring in love, and of course being grounded into the core of Mother Earth, that then keeps you feeling safe. And also those frequencies of love and balance and nourishment go through your body, and you can relax in this new way of being. And the more you practice it, the more your body remembers this state. And then it just becomes your natural state of being, which is then you know that you're connected to Mother Earth. You feel the sense of safety. You are in the present moment where all life happens, where everything is available to you. And then you more easily kind of reach for or just bring to you the experiences that you like. And then when something stressful shows up, again, you are looking at it or observing it from this present moment. So you can consciously choose how you want to respond. I hope that answered that question.
It does. And I think, what would some of the reasons or the state that somebody might be in where it would be really beneficial? I mean, from after having a personal experience, I think probably almost anybody could benefit from this type of work. But, what specifically do people come to you for?
People come to me when they feel stuck in a certain area. They want to get ahead in life, and they've done a lot of awareness work, and they just can't seem to do the next step. And typically what I notice is that they're not grounded. A lot of people
Mhm.
do a lot of different works, but it's not pulled through the body. It's not pulled through the nervous system, through your spine, and it's not grounded. So ultimately, your body does not remember that state. Your mind may remember, but your mind is in the past and in the future in many different areas, so you forget. You could have learned
Mhm.
many things, but in times of stress, you forget. When it's integrated into your body, you're walking in that present moment. That present moment comes with you. So even when a stressful or a challenging, let's just say challenging situation would be coming your way, your awareness is already on it. So you can receive it with a space of, you can handle it, you can choose the best, what's best for you, because you are sourcing from that present moment. It's every life, we all know that everything happens in the now. That's where you have the most amount of resources. When you're trying to look at something that's happening now, but you're from your mind, from what happened in the past, you already set forth a condition, a perception that it's going to be this way or that way. So you're kind of just off a little bit from the truth of what is going on. The truth is in this present moment only.
And through this experience, and I think you tapped into this a little bit, but through having this experience with you or having multiple of this experience, would you say that, from the somatic perspective, the body sort of remembers? So, like you said, if you go back into maybe a stressful situation, or you find that your mind is going back and wandering into the past or the future, from what I studied about body work and doing that for so long, that our cells and our tissues have memory, and so we're able to actually remember and go back into a certain state of being. I think what I'm curious about is the connection between our mind and that cellular memory. Um, and so, if we anchor back into maybe some of the tools and the present and the breath, does that trigger our body and our cells to remember that higher frequency, or the bundles to interact at that higher frequency? That's a big question.
Yes, yes, a few different parts in it. So, yes, your body remembers. When you resonate with higher frequency, it has authority over the lower frequencies. At a higher frequency, you feel better. You are closer to that oneness. And many times when I do a sessions, I tell you, I put a GPS locator in this space, in this resonance. So since it being a higher resonance, it feels much better for you It's kind of like when you go and have the best treat for the first time ever. You'll always remember that treat. And if you know where that treat is, you're going to go back to get it. Excuse me. So this is the same. Your body remembers, and you're like, I want to go back there because I felt so much better in that state. And again, in that state, you are entering a different platform where more information is available to you, where you can solve much easier something that you couldn't in a lower resonance. Also,
Mm,
there's another aspect of this. Ultimately, I connect you with the one source that everything stems from, that we're all from. When you're in the mind, you're in the limitations of time.
mhm,
Your breath, even though you don't physically breathe once you leave this body, but your breath, the fact that you're being breathed, right? Because at night you don't know you're being breathed. So through your breath and through being in the present moment, we are starting to connect to that one source. So you're
mhm,
stepping into the unseen aspects of yourself, your multi-dimensional selves. And many patterns are on the soul level. Many patterns of low self worth, fears, self esteem, certain energetic structures that got stuck in your system due to trauma or repeated negative
mhm,
actions. So then we start to work in that space. That's where we release those. And when we release more and more of those, then your brilliance, your true self,
mhm.
your emanation from that one source can be brighter, can resonate more. So your body with time just resonates higher and higher, or more true to who you are, to your true nature. Did that answer that loaded question?
I love it. Yeah, it's really interesting because I think the week after I had this experience, it was during a time where I said I was very overwhelmed, very busy, trying to do too many things. Anybody who knows me knows that this is a pattern for me. I'll take on too much, and then I'll kind of burn out, and I'll sometimes have to like go into a cave and process it. But it was really interesting because I felt so good after. I felt like an immediate sense of clarity and just calm, and like a calm that I really, really needed. I was just craving, and it wasn't, I don't even know. I lost sense of time during our experience together, completely lost sense of time because I was so present, which of course, that's what happens. But I felt I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to because, like I said, I've tried a lot of other things to bring me into a calm centered space. You name it, I've probably tried it. Meditation, yoga, nature, walks. I love all of those things, but there was something very different about this experience. And then the week after, I actually felt like the word I would use is like purging. It was almost like detoxifying, and I've done a lot of that too. So I completely understand that that's like such a necessary process. And it's almost like we have to kind of clear out the junk to make room for the light, right? Or however you put that. But um and I got through that kind of few days. And as a result of that, I now feel, because it's been, I think, a couple weeks since we had our session, 2 weeks exactly, maybe. And I feel like, again, maybe it's because I'm in your presence right now. So you definitely have sort of an energetic presence and an aura about you that I feel very just like that calmness, that balance. So being in your presence is so powerful and so healing. But I have felt just like a clarity and a lightness. And I know there's more, right? There's always more. So what are, if somebody is interested in kind of like having a treatment with you, what would you say? What would you tell them to either expect or not expect? What would be a great way for them to really be prepared for this session?
To be prepared, to make sure that you're in an uninterrupted space and be well hydrated. Other than that, I always say not to have any expectations, because expectations is by the mind, and then your mind might want to hold you to that. Every experience, every session is unique, because everybody has unique needs. And when I guide you through this is also very different for everybody, because when I sense that there's a lot of mind resistance, then the words come through different. I typically put the mind at rest so that information can come in. Those people who've done a lot of work where their mind already rests, then again, the wording will be different. And I am guided as to what to say and how deep we can go. So you don't need to have any expectation. It will just flow. The most relevant information will come through. That's the uniqueness of it. Whatever your body needs at this point, whatever you need for you to get to your next step, it will be revealed. It might be different than what your mind thinks, that, oh, I think I have a problem with this, I want to resolve this. But the information may come through something else, but then ultimately it does end up with what you needed. It's just not how you expected it to be.
That's my
So
favorite part. That's my favorite part, is that things show up that need to show up and be worked through it. And sometimes that can be a surprise, or like, oh, maybe I buried that or didn't want to think about that particular situation or person or trauma. But really incredible healing can come from that sort of awareness and bringing it up, and then, as you say, dissolving it, and kind of really working intentionally to dissolve those layers. How does this work make space for somebody to step into their true empowerment, their confidence, their most authentic, showing up in their most authentic way of being? Because we all want that, right? And I think we all find there are limitations, but we don't always know what they are. So how can doing this kind of work, I don't know, fast track us to, really showing up that way?
I love that question. Thank you. Because ultimately, this is about authenticity, right? We are creating this new world now in our authenticity. And the way this work can help is when you clear all those limitations, those limiting beliefs, those traumas, those energetic structures that have been residing in your system, whether in your physical body or just barely next to it, near it in your energetic bodies, then it holds you back from being able to express yourself authentically. Because as your truth comes through, as your connection from that one source comes and is ready to be expressed, waiting to be expressed, if you have a limiting construct inside you that pulls you just slightly this way or that way, just slightly, oh, I can't say this because of
Mm,
whatever, because this person might judge me, because my mom might see it, because of all these things, or my nose is too big, or all these things that we come up with,
mm,
then it will deter that resonance of truth
mm.
slightly off.
Yeah.
And through practicing this work and you spending more and more time in the higher frequency fields where we clear these, and when you experience that guidance coming through in its truth, it has a certain sound, feel,
Mm.
texture, image, information packet, resonance. And when you can allow that to come through, it will even surprise you, the beauty of the authenticity.
Mm.
And in the beginnings, when you don't just have this fully I guess, in a line or aligned with it, then you can actually catch yourself when you're just pulled away from that truth, when you twisted it just a little bit, when you covered this part a little bit.
Mm.
And by now, where we're going, where we are integrating more and more frequencies, meaning more and more light, meaning more and more information, we can um, we can sense these now. This is also what I do. Is it's kind of like, and I call it a spiritual stretch. It is a spiritual training. We are training the body for the
Mhm.
embodiment of all this new
Mhm.
light information. The way we create this new world is through being authentic, through that truth coming through, because you can only work honestly with something when you have everything in front of you, all the truth. If you cover this and that and here and there, you're cutting off pieces, you're cutting off opportunities, and you're limiting potentiality. So ultimately, this is building the new human to work fully as an expression of that one source.
I think this is important now more than ever, and I love the embodiment piece and how there's a sound, there's a feeling, there's a visual. So really it's sort of tapping into the entire somatic experience of being as it relates to connecting at a higher level with your true self. But what I also see as we step more and more into this AI age is there is even more of a need for us to express as that authentic self, and we can tap into and utilize some of that information. But the more we are in our true expression of our authentic self in a somatic real experience with ourselves, with nature, with those other people, truly connecting with other people, I feel like that's very important for the transformative of, the greater the greater planet, right? And for people. So I feel like this is actually happening simultaneously. What I'm noticing is that there are more and more people in the spiritual space, light workers, however you choose to define it, that are coming forward and sharing these, more sort of quantum ideas and ways of being and ways of tapping in and ways of expressing and being present in order for us to, this is very big, going very deep here, but in order for us to hopefully find balance with the technology movement and stay really connected, because it's very easy for people to completely get lost in that world. I'm somebody that loves technology. I'm very embedded in that space and technology, but I also choose to really balance in the spiritual and in the awareness and in the presence and in connecting with humans, because I think it's so valuable. Any thoughts about all of that?
Any thoughts on that? Yes. So, technology, the intention typically is to enhance our lives. And when a collective is ready for that technology, to use that technology in a balanced way to enhance life, then it will. If the
Mhm.
collective isn't ready for an invention, like let's say like the AIs, then it will abuse it.
Mhm.
It's just
Mhm.
simply, do we have the awareness to hold the space to correctly and in a balanced way use something that is meant to help us and not to take over what we do?
Yeah.
And chat gpi would be a really good explanation, or what is the word when you show something a good
Example, maybe.
I can think of the word. A good example, yes, that's the word. A good example for this. Chat gpi does a great job creating a lot of things. You put in, I don't know, a few words, a sentence, whatnot, and it gives you a whole thing. And what I notice with chat gpi is it takes a rhythm, a typical rhythm that probably how it was programmed. This is what people like. These are the wordings people use. This is the typical sequence how people use it, and here it is.
Mhm.
Now, an organic being recognizes that, or at least I know I recognize it,
Yeah.
because it has a certain rhythm.
Yeah.
It mimics human talk fairly good, but in reality, we don't converse like that. And this is where it comes in even more important to keep that sense. I mean, you could call it your sixth sense, if you will, to keep the connections and the communications human in between human,
Yeah.
because what that carries, it carries so much more, right? Love
Yeah.
carries through my
Any
words. A shared
emotion,
dream, right?
any
Right. An
energy,
AI.
and even any frequency. And while you can create chat gpt to mimic your tone or way of talking, there's still an energetic frequency to it that I think when you have that awareness, of course you can sense and you can utilize it as a tool for sure, but not to take away from the power of our emotion, our feeling, our connection, and our authenticity, and always carry that through. And it's really interesting as I've played with it. I think there's people know, people who are aware, especially like you said, have that sixth sense. They know that something is robotic or copy, or just produced, that there isn't that. So um, I think as we move into the era of utilizing, and this is only going to become more and more prevalent, that's just the world we live in now, more important than ever to, do these practices and engage in techniques and healing modalities that are going to keep us in tune with ourselves and keep us present and keep us authentic and continuing to stay aware of that. So, what are some of the ways, Melinda, that individuals or groups can work with you?
Oh, yes, I love that too. So, individuals, I have individual sessions, one on one sessions, or 3 month or 6 month containers, depending on what people feel they need, what they'd like to work through. And group sessions, I absolutely love the group sessions. All of my um, group containers that I create, it is by guidance, meaning it just came to me right from that higher guidance. And there's a differentiation. By now, I know the texture, the sound, the auditory difference when it comes from the mind, and when it comes from the highest source that is available to me. And these are expressions. This is what the collective needs to hear, right? These are not my products. This is what is being communicated, that a large collective is dealing with these issues. Bring it to light, bring it to awareness, and facilitate and share the tools where people can shift these and then come into their highest alignment. So, my newest course that's coming up is Embody Your Truth. And this is similar to what I've already, this whole interview, what we talked about, that information really only is utilizable to you anytime, anywhere, if it is embodied, meaning it is in your cells. Your cells remember. You don't even have to mentally think of being aware, you just are. And the more you hold that resonance, that frequency, the more you're emanating that out.
Mhm.
You are becoming helpful to the people around you just by being. And as you keep, like you said earlier, that even just being in my presence, you felt more calm. So that's my emanation. When I exchange interaction with people, there's a certain resonance, a certain awareness that I hold. And that is my intention, to have the most authentic interactions in this world, because I intend to connect and communicate and build this way. So all of my courses are based ultimately on that. And this newest one, Embody Your Trust, is really for those people who've done a lot of work, but they still feel like, something, why can't I create what I want to create? What is not coming through? It's that really clarifying of that line of truth coming through.
Mm,
And certain base frequencies that are important to have in your self identity, in your base of self identity,
mm,
as clear frequencies like courage, right? Well, what does one think when I say courage? Some people might think, oh, I dare to do this or I dare to do that. Where do you source it from? We're
mm,
connecting these to source it from your highest source, highest resonance available to you. And ultimately, it is from the one source. And the cleaner you are, the closer you can come to that. When you still have a lot of limiting beliefs, you're trying, you're coming. So this is again where it comes in. It's a training. It's a spiritual
mhm,
training. So to have those core self-identity frequencies as clear as you can. So your expression is as clear as you can. And then I also have some past courses, the hidden frequencies of self sabotage. I'm sure we've all done self sabotage. I don't know any human being who hasn't. It's just
mm,
something that's been in the collective. So I
mm,
have a frequency series on that. And another big one was, I love that one too, rebalancing your intimate identity.
mm,
This is really the understanding and the integrating that as you show up in the world to interact in relationships, ultimately it is your relationship to yourself first.
mm,
Having
mhm,
been a human being, we've all been drenched in some beliefs that we're denying our own selves. So the way
mhm.
we show up intimately to ourselves, that whole series cleanses that line, cleanses how you can own yourself as your true self.
Incredible. And I think there's so much power in a group experience, like you said, because there becomes a collective energy with the individuals that are there, all doing this work and even holding space for each other with your guidance, holding space as well. So I've been in groups and I know that that can be so powerful and so impactful. I really want to invite anyone who's watching to check out Melinda's site here. This has all of the information about her. And also check out her upcoming course, Embody Your Truth. Reach out, ask her questions. I have listed her socials on this stream, so you can find her, learn more about her. This is an area that, of course, I just absolutely love. I think it's so needed. It's so important for us to do the work, for us to really start looking and kind of like you mentioned with your last program that that relationship to ourself is so important, and it's so easy whether we're having a relationship with our partner or our children or our job that we remember the relationship with ourself and how we show up because it's really going to have an effect on all of those relationships. So I love that you this is an area of focus. This is an area that you're able to tap into and see and even remind because we forget. We simply forget, and that's why it's so important to come back to this type of work where we are focusing on ourselves, and it is a form of self care. I believe all of this is a form of self care, and I think we hear, oh, you need to take care of yourself, but the action and the doing is where the magic happens. So I love what you're
Exactly.
doing. I love
And
what you're doing.
sorry.
Go ahead.
And yes, bringing like widen that awareness. What does self-care mean? Because we used to think that getting a massage is self-care, or a manicure and whatnot. And this is that self-care to yourself as a being.
Yes. Yes. That's it. That's the key right there. What are you doing to take care of your being, your your entire spirit, your connectedness, your awareness? Because that massage feels great in the moment, and body work is important. I know. Um, but this type of deeper work, the inner work, is what affects every other layer and every other day, and it carries. It
Right.
continues to work. So thank you so much for being here. What would you say, Melinda, to somebody today to tap into their own frequencies, start to become more present, more aware? What advice would you give anyone watching to just start to explore this idea and start to feel this way?
Take a deep breath first and
Mhm.
hold it for a few seconds. Don't rush with it. And become aware that you are right here, right now.
Mm,
This is where you are.
beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. I will add let's add your website,
Thank you.
molnar.com. Please check her out. Her upcoming course is Embody Your Truth, right? Embody Your Truth.
Yes.
Here's a QR code if you want to learn a little bit more about that. Melinda is on Facebook at Spiritual Stretch. And I'm so excited. I'm going to be continuing to work with Melinda, and I'm so excited because like I said, I had one treatment and I felt a lot, experienced visuals, experienced balance, and I know there's more, and I know that the power of doing more of this can make a much bigger impact. And I want to always show up as my authentic self. And as much as I do this work, there's always ways to show up even more authentically and even more present. It doesn't ever end, being able to be more of our true selves. So I'm excited to continue this path with you, Melinda.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel. And thank you for creating this opportunity for people like me to share with the world what we do.
Absolutely. It's so needed. It's so important. And I'm so excited to be able to create a space to really to speak about this and share this, and for other people to start to learn and become more aware.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye for now.